everybody, so I've got a collection of lots of new products to show you today. One of them is the new Givenchy limited edition collection. I've got the pressed powder and I'm going to test the pressed powder up against the loose powder, and this is also in a new shade, and I'll be trying on both of these lip products from the collection. I've got a new shade in the Chanel Les Beiges foundation. This is the lightest shade which they've recently launched, so I want to see if this is a good winter shade for me. And I've got two shades of the new Anastasia Beverly Serum Blurring Blush to try. And whilst this certainly isn't new, I've got the Charlotte Tilbury Fire Rose eyeshadow palette, which I have never owned and everyone talks about it so much. I decided to get it when it was relaunched recently, so I'm going to try that one on today. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah. I'm not a professional, just somebody who really loves makeup and beauty, and here on my channel I like to review new products, show you some of my favourites, and basically give you any news, tips, anything I think might interest you. If you think you'd enjoy that, I would love it so much if you liked and subscribed. And if you're already subscribed to my channel, thank you so very much for returning. You all really do mean so much to me, and I'm so grateful for your support. And also, if you comment below, that would be really helpful to my channel. But most of all, I just love getting to know everybody, so I really hope we can chat. And if you want to know about my skin tone, which might be useful with the foundation, I've got fair to light neutral undertone skin. I've got slightly cool undertones as well as neutral, and I've got combination skin with an oily T-zone. So let's get on with the video. I just want to apologise if there were noises in the background during the introduction there. That might continue, unfortunately. We've had construction work going on next door, and I think it's just stepping up with diggers and all sorts going on. So apologies in advance if that happens. So I'm going to start with the foundation. Now, I've never actually tried Les Beiges foundation at all. I've just heard lots of good things about it. So when I saw they released this new shade, which very recently launched, I think it was only in the last sort of month, I could be wrong, but I think it is really new, I thought I could try this because this could be the perfect winter shade. And when I'm not familiar with a foundation, I really don't want to buy two shades to match summer and winter. So this will look very pale on me, I can tell you that right now, but I can definitely make it work with bronzers and everything. And you can just see how this sits on my skin, whether it suits me and whether this is a good winter match. So the new shade is B00 Fair with neutral undertones. And this foundation is described as a natural looking foundation that infuses the skin with the radiance of a day spent in the great outdoors. Perfect for summer really, but anyway, I'm getting my winter shade here. It's got a fine silky texture which glides over the skin and forms a layer both invisible to the eye and imperceptible to touch, like a second skin. Big promises there. It's a combination of light reflecting powders and pigments which makes the skin's texture appear smoother, imperfections are diminished, the complexion is unified without a trace. It says it has an adjustable coverage, long wear formula, and gives the skin a glow for up to 12 hours. The formula also protects the skin from external aggressors such as pollution, and it's enriched with hydrating ingredients, which I do love these days in my makeup, and it delivers a sensation of immediate comfort, hydrating the skin day after day. There's 41 shades in this, and this gives a satin finish. And skincare wise, it says that this contains over 40% water, and it's got agents in it such as glycerol, which are capable of retaining several times their weight in water, thereby maintaining good hydration of the upper epidermal layers. This is non-comedogenic, suitable for sensitive skin, dermatologist tested, and very easy to remove. So let's get this on. I've got my normal skincare on, which I applied a while ago now, and I've just got a little bit of slightly mattifying serum powder here, the water to powder formula from Danessa Myricks, which I tend to use when I'm using this sort of formula to hopefully lock in the oils around my T-zone. So here it is. You can see that it's not massively runny, but it's certainly not a thick foundation. I'm going to use my BK Beauty 101, pat this into the palm of my hand to really warm it up with the heat of my skin before taking it to the face. And you should see straight away how this is a little bit pale for me, but in the winter this would probably be quite a perfect match because I am wearing tan at the moment. There. And the first thing I noticed when I tried this, and I have tested it once before, is this does seem to need to be worked in quite a bit to stop it looking almost grainy on the surface of my skin. But that doesn't last. You just need to keep patting rather than brushing. There, it's already worked its way in. It just takes a little bit of time, not much. It's got a beautiful smell. It's the classic Chanel smell if you enjoy it anyway. And because of the way it has that almost, do you see what I mean? Like the grainy sort ofness when it first goes on, it just doesn't look very good. I thought at first this wasn't going to work, but as you pat it in and it just warms up with your skin, it's absolutely fine. But because it's like that, I would be very careful about putting it directly onto the nose. I would really get it nicely warmed up and pushed into the skin first before taking it to the nose. So now I'm going to go over the nose with a very, very light amount on the brush. I'm starting to see pilling here and here, which makes me wonder if the Danessa Myricks serum has disagreed with it actually, which has never happened before with anything. It didn't happen the last time I tried it and I didn't use that, so I'm going to go off camera and take this all off and start again. So I've taken that all off and I've put some of the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum on, which has a completely different effect. That is more of a glowy, hydrating base, which I wouldn't normally put under this sort of foundation, but apparently the other one didn't seem to like it. So let's see if it sits better on top of that. Yeah, straight away it seems to sit well. This Danessa Myricks serum, I pulled this out recently when I was testing out her new concealer, and I haven't taken it off my desk since because it seems to have worked so well with just about everything I've tried. Yeah, that's much better. I'm not expecting more than a sort of light to medium coverage with something like this, and I'd expect it to have that very sort of hydrating finish, but apparently I need to have some sort of hydration underneath, which I wasn't expecting. But then I am on tretinoin and I have recently increased my tretinoin dose, so my skin is behaving a bit differently all the time, and basically I'm getting more dryness, especially in the T-zone area where I do get an oily area, but I also get much more dry skin when I'm on tretinoin, peeling anyway happening here. So I'll stick to a very light base with this. I don't want to have a lot of coverage because that really would sort of defeat the purpose of this sort of foundation for me. This is giving me that fresh, light coverage for more of a natural look. It's almost like a skin tint in a way, but it gives more coverage than a skin tint. So I think this is an excellent shade match for me for winter. So as I said, ignore my neck and not match it up with my neck or my hands because I've got tan on. But it is a good match for me, so I'm quite pleased with this, and I will be definitely using this more in the winter, but I can use it now and just add bronzer. Here's the finish anyway, so it's giving me that very sort of light natural coverage, which I think is really nice, and it gives you a nice glow as well. Very comfortable, very lightweight, and it did wear well when I tried this the other day. It lasted me a good sort of 9-10 hours later. It still looked fine. It's coming away from here because it's not got that sort of coverage which really sticks like the sort of Tier foundation which I've tried here on the channel. But I'd say after about sort of 6-7 hours you start to see a little bit of movement, but nothing terrible. So it's a pretty reliable foundation, and it does give you hydration all day. It's a very comfortable, lovely one to wear actually. So I'm very happy with this one when I want light coverage anyway. So I'll go in with my concealer. I'm still using the Danessa Myricks concealer, which I reviewed on this channel just a couple of weeks ago, and very happy with it, to be honest. I do think that the Yummy Skin range is so good for mature skin. I'm sure it's good for all types of skin, but for people who have problems with creasing and with collecting in lines and exaggerating texture, and most importantly really the creasing under the eye, which for me is a big issue, this formula is fabulous. So I've gone in with some liquid bronzer and some contour and the rest of the concealer in the areas I want to brighten. So it'll be time now to powder down so we can try the new Givenchy. So before I do this, I'll just show you a clip of me opening all of these out in natural daylight so you can see that. So here's that clip. So the packaging on this is absolutely stunning, and I am obsessed with pink and hearts, so I couldn't resist this based on the packaging alone, if nothing else. But also this is my absolute #1 loose powder. I have it in shade 3. So I haven't tried this shade, but I knew I had to try the pressed formula because I've only ever tried the loose, and like I said, it's my #1 powder, the loose one. So they did actually send me with this purchase the loose version of this, a sample. So I'm going to tip this into the lid of the one I use all the time, my shade 3. So we can try this exact shade on both sides, trying the pressed one side and then the loose on the other. So this actually comes with a brush, but it's not a brush that I would personally use. I'd rather use a puff, but if it's for on-the-go touch-ups, I suppose that is quite useful. And then underneath you've got the powder here. So here it is in all correcting tones. So it's basically going to correct all the different colour tones in your face. Each one has its own purpose. And I don't know if this particular combination is going to work as well for me as shade 3 does. So this one is £48 and it's a limited edition finishing powder, and it will give you a blurred and lasting matte finish that leaves the complexion looking radiant. Now, as I read that out, it says finishing powder. So I don't know exactly what that means in terms of how well it will work when I use it to set under the eyes. So it is a finishing powder, so maybe I should only be using it for that purpose, but I am going to be using it to set under the eyes because I just want to see the difference. So I've got 2 different puffs here, and I'm going to try both sides using a different puff. This has the beautiful smell that Givenchy products have, so be aware of the sort of perfume smell. So I'm just going to pat in my concealer. Now the concealer, the Danessa Myricks concealer has been setting beautifully with just about everything lately, so I would expect this to work pretty well. And it's worked beautifully. Actually, that colour combination might just be perfect for under the eye. Love that. I'm also going to continue to set around the T-zone area. So if you see the sort of shine on my chin, I'm just going to go halfway because I'm comparing the two. So it's taken that shine down and it just immediately blurs. Now I'm not going to put too much here because I'm going to use a liquid blush. I might at the end go over the blush and we'll see how it works out first. You can really see the patch there where I haven't done this though. And then my forehead, which is looking super shiny. Oh, it's just perfect. It's just as good. It really is perfect. Beautiful. So look at the difference between the two sides of my face. And it's set and blurred everywhere, everything. So quickly as well with this. You don't need to build this one up. I find with other powders I need to put tons on to get the effect I want. The thing I love about Givenchy is just the first few taps and you are done. And it just does the job instantly. Everything doesn't feel tacky. It feels nice and not dry. It's just very lightweight, but it's so effective. Beautiful. So here is my almost finished PRISME LIBRE one here. I do have a backup because I love it, and I always tip it into the lid here. So I'm just going to tap this out now and make sure it's completely clear of that powder. And I'm going to open my sample. So this shade is 01, which is described as a pastel shade. So I've taken the back off and you can see that even with the sample it's going to come out exactly the same way that it does from the real thing. So that's excellent. So it should tip out of this sample exactly the same way. You can do it directly onto the puff, but I always tap the actual case directly into the lid. It's hard now if I tip this up without... Can you see the 4 different colours have come out? But now I will combine all 4. And I've got a different puff for this so that I'm not mixing them up. I'm rubbing this into my wrist because I don't want to have too much on the puff. And then going straight in. Just tap with a brush first to make sure my concealer is pushed in. and then go straight into set. Do you know, I think I might prefer the press side looking at that. I think it's given me more coverage and more blurring. Anyway, I'll continue. I'll put a little bit more in the top. It still looks very good, don't get me wrong. So I put a bit more. I mean, maybe that's why, because I did pat off quite a lot. So I'm going to do the T-zone. Oh, you can see I've got loads on my brush there, on my puff I mean. Probably too much, but anyway. Oh yeah, I think it was just a question of having less on the puff. I think the question I wanted to ask about this was, is the pressed as good as the loose? Because the loose is my number one and I adore it. And looking at the way that this is applied, I think it's definitely as good. Absolutely. So here it is a bit closer up. So this is the pressed side and this is the loose side. Pressed, loose. And I think they look exactly the same and stunning. So this one is brilliant for travel because it's just more convenient, I think, than taking such a big bulky one. Although they do travel size mini ones of these, which I do have for travel, funnily enough. But some people might prefer not having to tap it out and it's less messy. I loved the way that this was just so quick and easy, to be honest. So I think if I was going to grab one by preference, it would probably be this one. And I definitely like this shade. The rosy one gives me brightening, but then this one does too. I think having the lilac, which is being introduced quite a lot, I think, in powders now, the lilac with this sort of white shade, I think that's given me the same brightening effect. I love it. I really love it. So all I can tell you is they're both brilliant. So it's a question of which do you prefer. But this one is limited edition. Hopefully not the pressed formula. Hopefully it's just the packaging that's limited edition. But absolute winner for me. Love it. I wouldn't normally go on to do lips now, but I'll just complete the collection because it's only these two that I've got from the collection. So the full collection was the pressed powder we just saw and 2 shades with this one and 2 shades with this one. So I've only picked up one of each. This packaging is out of this world, it really is. So this is Rose Perfecto, again limited edition. This one is shade 554, but if I move it up you can see it's got that sort of marbled effect. It's just almost too beautiful to use, isn't it? I love it. So this one is £33, so I'll try this one on first. Very in fashion at the moment, this sort of balmy finish, but this one is quite a thick, grippy one. It's not particularly, it's definitely not sliding off my lips at all. It feels very hydrating, but it does feel quite thick, like it will grip, which is brilliant. I think it's beautiful actually, a very natural finish, isn't it? Really like it. I'll see if I can build it up a bit more. No, that's the limit. I don't think I can build that up anymore. But very, very comfortable. I really do like this one. I love the packaging. I love the size of it. I love it. What do you think of this one? I'm getting a very mild sort of tingle, very mild. So it might have a slight plumping effect, but then I don't ever do anything to fill my lips, so I've got tiny lips, so they never look plumped. Anyway, I'll take this off to show you the other one. So again, in the Rose Perfecto range, there's 2 of these colours. I picked up the shade 210. This one is £33 and it's a Colour and Care limited couture edition liquid lip balm, providing 24 hours hydration and a glossy finish for plumped and nourished lips. And when I saw this, I thought as soon as I take it out, all of these colours will just disappear and merge into one. But when I just first tested it for the video, I haven't tested it on my lips yet, it doesn't. It seems to stay. And when you take the tip out, you can just see the sort of white and pink on the tip. If I go back in and show you again, it doesn't seem to affect the outside. So it still looks pretty, which might matter to you, and it certainly matters to me because it just looks beautiful. This has the sort of classic Givenchy scent, which is like a very light, very pleasant perfume. The doe foot is so soft, it's lovely to apply with. That's given me a slight more of a tingle, very, very slight, that sort of cool tingle, not an unpleasant tingle at all. That's got just the right amount of pigment for a gloss actually. I'm really pleased with the way these finish. Both of them are beautiful. So this one's got a bit more of a shine, I'd say. It's reasonably thick. It's not quite as thick as Dior, but it's reasonably thick. It's very soft and smooth, very sort of creamy, buttery feel to it. It's very, very nice. What can I say? Everything about the Givenchy collection. Very expensive, but absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at this packaging. It's just stunning. I could not resist anything with hearts on, and I'm there. Love it. Beautiful. Anyway, let's move on to the blush. So I've picked up 2 of these from Anastasia Beverly Hills. So these are £30, described as a hydrating, soft, matte liquid blush with a radiant blurred finish. The innovative skin-loving formula, enriched with niacinamide and pomegranate peels extract, delivers a buildable, vibrant colour, a gel-like texture which grips to the skin, creating a flushed from within effect. And you can get this in 5 shades. Guava Peachy, which is the one I've got here, which is a pink. Baby Pink, which I've also got here, the cool tone pink. And there's a peach, which is a bright peach, a hibiscus, which is bright pink coral, and a plum, which is a bright plum. So before I apply it, I'll just quickly show you how these compare to some of the more recent liquid blushes, colour-wise and texture-wise. So it comes with this very sort of strange looking tip, which almost looks like a syringe, but it's quite funky, I think. So I'll put this on my arm, and I'm going to start here with the baby pink colour. I'll put one little dot here. It's a very thick serum, so that's how it looks. And I'll just pull it down now to show you. Extremely pigmented. I had a tiny play around with these last night before I took my makeup off, and it really is very, very pigmented. And it's quite a thick formula. It's not watery. Not as watery as the Hourglass, for instance, which recently launched. So I'll compare this to the Huda Beauty. This one is Cotton Candy. So here it is, definitely a different shade. And immediately the Huda feels thinner. So I think that you probably need to use more Huda. I think that this one is just, it's very thick. You won't need a lot of this one at all. Whereas the Huda, you can blend it out, so it really dilutes in colour. I've got the Armani in the shade 53. Now this one is a closer match in colour. Again, it's much more lightweight than the Anastasia one, and a slightly brighter pink, I'd say. You can see the way that this one's setting down. It's almost got a sort of lilac tint to it. And with that in mind, I've actually got the lilac from the NARS cream blush, liquid blush, so I'm going to compare it to that. This is called Wanderlust. This is probably the most liquidy of all of the ones I've just tried, which is why I'm getting in a right mess on my arm here. But you can see how this shade is almost an exact match, but a very different formula. So the NARS one is much more lightweight and blends out to a more sheer finish, whereas this one from Anastasia is so much thicker and more pigmented, and certainly more matte. You can see the matte finish there on my arm, whereas we're getting quite different finishes from the others here. Sorry, I'm getting in a mess. So that was the baby pink. Now looking at the guava, I've actually only got one that I think is a match colour-wise for this one. So if I put some guava here, so there's guava. I'm giving this a bit more room because I'm only going to be comparing it with one. So there it is. And even though I got 5 shades of the Hourglass, this is the only one I think comes close to this one. And this is the shade Whim. So there's a drop of the Hourglass in Whim. So if I start taking this one down now, they are quite similar shades, but then Whim is definitely, it is different. So if I start to, they're both very pigmented, aren't they? I think Hourglass is just giving that more of a glowy finish, whereas you're getting more of a matte finish with the Anastasia, but it still feels thicker to the touch. Pigment-wise, pretty similar. This one is slightly more pigmented, but Whim is probably the most pigmented one I've got in my collection out of the 5 I tested from Hourglass. So it says to squeeze this directly onto the cheeks, using the applicator for buildable colour, 1 dot for a natural flush, 2 to 3 dots for more intensity, blend with fingertips using gentle pressing motions. So I immediately want to reach for my brush, but it says to blend with fingertips. So I'm going to go with one dot. I hope doing it this way I don't get too much. And I really am just going to do that because it was so pigmented. So I'm going to start tapping it in with fingertips as it says. So you can see, oh, actually it does work well with fingertips. This is the guava, by the way. So that one little dot, that's blended out really easily with my finger. Not an application I like to do, but that really does work. It says to do it with gentle pressing motions, so never try and blend it in like that, just little taps. So that has given me quite a light flush, that little dot actually. So I probably could be brave and go for one more. I'm scared with this that I'll squeeze out too much and then I'll be in trouble. So you see it is very pigmented. I do need my 109 brush though to finish this off. I can't do it all with my fingers. I just prefer the finish I get using my BK Beauty 109. I can't do anything without this brush. I'm lost without it. So even though this is a matte finish, I think I'm still getting a reasonable shine coming through. Obviously I've got quite a shiny base and I didn't put any powder here. So this area here is going directly onto the foundation from earlier and then my cream bronzer. That's really pretty actually. It's a really natural flush. I quite like that. I'm going to leave it like that for now. So I'll try baby pink on this side. Again, little tiny squeeze. Just that much to start with. Now, I know this is the sort of shade that I've been loving lately. So if you've got my sort of skin tone, this can be a really good match. It's a lovely cool pink. And again, that's blended in nicely. So I think I can again put a little bit more. It did say you can go up to 3. Obviously you can do whatever you like, but you can go up to 3. But I do have quite a fair skin tone and I don't like to look crazy with blush. I just like it to look quite natural. Again, I'm sort of wanting my brush, so the brush just sort of places it and smooths out the edges. So there we have just 2 dots of the cool pink and 2 dots of the guava. Very easy to apply, very pretty. I think the guava is really summer friendly and the baby pink, well, would work with just about most looks actually. If you've got my sort of skin tone, it really does suit me, I think. I really like both. It does suggest layering 2 different shades to give you a custom look, so I'll try that. I'll put a little bit of guava on this side. So I'm layering the guava now on the upper part of the cheek. Yeah, they layer together nicely actually, don't they? So for this side, I'm going to put a bit of the cool pink more at the bottom end here to try and match each side up. I'm hoping once I blend it, it'll sort of look the same on both sides, but this just shows how you can play around with these colours. One thing it suggests is if you go for the hibiscus, which I think is a really strong shade, you can get that sunburnt look, which is very much in trend at the moment. Not a trend I particularly want to try myself, if I'm honest, but if you're tempted, then that could be something to try. And obviously if you've got a deeper skin tone, you don't have to get a sunburnt look with it. It might be the perfect shade for you. So the one thing about these is they're definitely not glowy because they are allowing some glow through, but I definitely feel like I need some sort of highlighter on the tops of my cheeks as well. So I know with a lot of the ones that have released recently, they give enough of a glow for me to not feel I need a highlighter. So keep that in mind. But if you prefer a matte finish, there's no stickiness at all. It feels like it's drying down very quickly. It'd be very comfortable not to have any powder here. But I did say that I would test this with powder, so I'm going to go back into this Givenchy pressed powder, and on both sides I'm going to powder over. And now I'm going to try 1 dot on each on top of powder to see how that works. So I have found with quite a lot of these new liquid blushes that on top of powder it actually gives off more pigment and looks a bit nicer for me. I need the brush now. I think on top of powder, fingers are not going to cut it. That's working very nicely. I don't think you've got tons of time, but you do have enough time with this. You can see where I've laid it down, it's not left a mark. Now here I've laid it on top of powder, so let's see how easy it is to blend out now without having that sort of stripe on my face. Definitely having to work harder and that is because it's on top of powder. So maybe don't do what I just did and put it on and spend ages chatting before you blend it out, but you can blend it out. The stripe is definitely gone, look. I've got one of my Dior highlight palettes out next to me, so I think I'm just going to put some of the pinky highlights, stick with a pink theme. Yeah, I really like this blush. I don't know at the moment, if you asked me to say what my favourite is out of all of these new liquid blushes, I really don't know which one it would be, because I think they're all really good. I think they're just equally good. Maybe Armani has still got my top spot, maybe. But this one is really, really nice. So, and it's giving a different finish, so it is a bit unique. Packaging unique, finish unique. So yeah, really like this one. So now lastly, I'm going to go in with an old product that has recently relaunched, and that is the Rose Fire eyeshadow palette from Charlotte Tilbury. I've heard so many people rave about this. It's not a colour story I would go for because I'm not really someone who likes pinks, and this sort of shade is not really my sort of shade. But anyway, everyone raves about it, so let's see if this one works for me. And the brief description on this says it's inspired by the glitz and glamour of the Fire Rose Diamond. The luxury palette in Fire Rose stars a quartet of flame-toned shades with hues ranging from pearly rose gold to a moody magenta. This must-have palette makes it easy to achieve a subtle wash of understated shimmer or increase the intensity for a fiery, eye-catching effect, designed to be used individually or together to create an array of arresting looks. The shades are categorized as Prime, Enhance, Smoke and Super Pop, as they always are with these sorts of quads from Charlotte Tilbury, and should be applied in that order to take you seamlessly from desk to dusk. Now I don't always follow that, but I thought today I will. So I'm going to go into the Prime shade, which is this one, and I've got my Refa 01. Now this seems like a strange one for me as a prime because it's shimmery. And as it also says, you can use all of these on their own. You can see actually straight away how if you're looking for a lovely quick one and done look, that's given it to me pretty much instantly, hasn't it? That is really pretty. I remember trying to follow the principle of these palettes on a holiday once, so I would start with the 2 shades in the morning, and then when it came to going out for an evening meal, I would go in with the next 2 to glam it up, and it worked really well. Obviously that's a principle you could apply for going to work. Just go in with this and maybe the next one as well. Keep it in your bag and apply the next 2 shades if you're going out after work. And using the Refa 03, I'm going to put this underneath as well. And using the Refa 15 Mini, I'm going to go into the Enhance shade. I'm going to put this here and take it across the first sort of third. Charlotte Tilbury shades just work so easily, don't they? They are absolutely effortless. I mean, you could just say done already. And run this under the first sort of half of the eye to match above. Well, for someone who's not a fan of pinks, these are not coming across too pinky at all. They're just deep enough and warm enough to work perfectly on me. So these would be the first 2 tones, just the very 2 top ones. So that's Prime and Enhance, and that's your day look sorted. And that's exactly what I did on holiday. So now I'm going to go into this deep burgundy, and this is the Smoke. Now this is very deep, and for me, I really don't want much more depth than what I've got, to be honest. So I'm going to take a little bit here, and then just sort of bring it up here a bit, using the Refa number 3. It's almost like a liner I'm using this at the moment, but I'm actually going to smoke it up a bit there. Just like this. I don't want it to go all the way. Before I put the pop actually on the lid, I'm going to take it on the BK Beauty brush, the 207, and I'm just going to put it here. And I'm going to take a little bit underneath the brows. And then I'm going to take some on my finger, and I'm going to take this across the lid. There's the pop. There's the evening sparkle that I would want on holiday in the evenings. Doesn't that finish the look? I really can see why everyone loves this. That is gorgeous. So I've just gone off camera and added some mascara. I won't be adding any eyeliner because I'm really happy with the effect I've got from the deeper eyeshadow, the matte, the burgundy matte. I can't believe how much I love this. I would never ever have gone for this colour, this colour story. And I think it's everyone who said to get this, thank you, because you were spot on. I don't know why I've resisted all this time, but it's got a chance of being one of my favourite Charlotte Tilbury palettes. That's how much I love it. Anyway, it's been a really successful day for me today. I'm really happy with everything. The foundation has been on for an hour now, no caking, no settling into fine lines. It's looking really beautiful. Like I said, I can get a good 6-7 hours out of this before I need to think about touching up in the area around here. So it is a good, reliable foundation, really natural finish, lovely. I really do like it. So if you're looking for that sort of light coverage, and if you've got my skin tone, this is a perfect match, certainly for winter anyway. So very pleased they released that new shade. And the blushes, I think they look beautiful. Really, really like them. Below and above powder. And you know that the Givenchy collection, sorry, I'm holding up blush and Givenchy here. The Givenchy collection, stunning. My lips still feel really comfortable. The lip products are just beautiful. I would give both of them 10 out of 10 for what they are. They really are beautiful. You will not find, I don't think, a better gloss or a better lip balm type of lipstick. So I think they are both stunning, beautiful. 10 out of 10. And the powder, can I give it a million out of 10? Because that's how much I love Givenchy powder. And the press formula is as good as the loose. That's my conclusion. Anyway, I find it as good. So if you're wondering which one to try, this one is beautiful. Don't think there's a powder on the market that can beat Givenchy, to be honest with you. It is up there. Even though Rare Beauty is really, really good. I'm just testing that at the moment. But still, I don't think Givenchy can be beaten anyway. Maybe Rare Beauty can come up to it, we'll see. But it's not beatable, it's stunning. And I'm very happy with everything else I've tried. And as you can see, I've loved trying out Fire Rose, and I'm so pleased I did. So this could be a really lovely evening look, especially over sort of Christmas, winter time. Maybe not so much summer, but you could get away with it because it's got a sort of goldy shift, hasn't it? So yeah, very pleased with everything. I'd love to know, have you tried any of the products I tried today? And if not, are you picking any of them up? I would love to hear from you. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you very, very much for returning. I appreciate every single one of you so much. And I hope to see all of you for my next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.